What happens when high borrowing costs collide with the city's insatiable housing demand? Well, 2023 was a year where the Toronto real estate market defied all odds, challenged norms, and set new records. Let's uncover the stories behind the numbers in Toronto's unforgettable year of 2023, and feel free to share your thoughts at any time down below. As we rounded out the year of 2022, we had come down from the record highs, and many experts were saying we'd head into 2023, continuing that downtrend. The start of 2023 actually brought the exact opposite of that. We started out with a bang, marking January 2023 as the GTA's turning point from the spring of 2022's highs for transactions and prices. This came off the back of record low inventory numbers and the Bank of Canada holding rates throughout the spring, keeping the target overnight rate to 4.5%. As we entered June and rolled into summer, the Bank of Canada increased interest rates and then increased them again in July. At the same time, inventory was rising as more homeowners decided to sell, and this started to give buyers more choices. Many buyers who didn't find a home had to end up calling off their search as the interest rates rose once more because they were now priced out of their market. This led to decreased demand, and listings were starting to sit on the market for longer stretches of time, and this marked the cooling of the market for the rest of the year. This past year's trends in both pricing and transactions followed those of 2022 in a nearly identical way. A quick look at those two charts, and you can see a pattern. It's almost as if the real estate market is cyclical, something many people forgot about as the seasonal nature of our real estate market was disrupted by the pandemic and historically low interest rates for a brief period. The return to the seasonality and seeing it for a second year in a row is a reassuring sign of relative stability being returned to the market. Overall, while we started out 2023 with a pickup in transactions and prices, Toronto prices for all property types were down 14 to 18% through the first 3 months, and the year-over-year change in prices finally bottomed out in May. And since then, the year-over-year change in prices has stayed relatively flat, ranging from a 0 to 4% increase in prices. For condos, they followed the trend of all other property types, but their annual drop in prices wasn't as severe as detached freehold homes. The supply of condos increased quite drastically for the year. New listings had increased by 50% from our low in 2022. This was because the math just wasn't working with many condo investors due to the increased interest rates and maintenance fees in many buildings, forcing them to sell. Compare that to detached homes, and their supply increase overall was only 9%, but the price drop was 20% from the peak in 2022 to February 2023. For condos, the price drop was only 8%. For the rental market, the supply of rental units climbed 22% for the year. This allowed the supply of rental units to surpass the number of transactions, meaning that there are now more units for lease than tenants. Whereas for quite a while, there were more tenants searching for a unit than there were available. Despite this, the demand for high-quality rentals in central Toronto is still strong due to first-time buyers being priced out of their market due to the increased interest rates. The constant inflow of new residents also adds fuel to that fire. We've also seen rental units sitting on the market longer despite significant interest in them as landlords become stricter about who they want as tenants due to the increase in tenants taking advantage of the poor LTV system. At the same time, tenants are doing more research on their landlord and new buildings due to an increase in illegal evictions and the lack of rent control on new builds, leading to newer builds sitting on the market longer in many cases. Rent prices continue upwards, of course, as Toronto has never-ending demand with our population growth. The average rent for a one-bed apartment in central Toronto now stands at $2,633 a month. A two-bed averages around $3,430 a month. Experts say we may be hitting a peak in terms of what renters can afford, suggesting a possible stabilization of rental rates, but with such high demand and lack of affordability in the resale market, it's hard to tell if rent prices will really stabilize. In the pre-construction market, there was a whole lot of noise. Toronto's pre-construction market has always been an unstoppable train, but the increased interest rates paired with supply chain shortages had significant impacts on developers. This led to delays on many projects, frustrating buyers and forcing those who were over-leveraged to back out of the project either by illegally breaking their contract or assigning their unit at a loss. Developers that couldn't push through the economic conditions faced serious legal and financial troubles, with 3 high-profile developers having their projects placed into receivership, and many smaller developers also faced receivership or had to sell off their assets. The third quarter of 2023 saw a 10-year low in new construction condos for the GTA. 1,798 new condos had been started in that quarter, a 72% drop from the previous quarter and an 86% drop from our record high in Q3 of 2022. This shows that developers realize now is not the time to build with the current economic conditions, and many are sitting on the sidelines until it is safe to do so. For prices, the price per square foot of a pre-construction condo in central Toronto has dropped for the first time since the financial crisis of 2008. The price per square foot has dropped from $1,485 to $1,216 per square foot, an 18% drop. The struggles in the pre-construction market just really started in the third quarter of 2023. So what 2024 brings is definitely something to worry about, as more and more buyers realize they can no longer afford to close on their pre-construction unit. After a year of historic changes, many are looking towards 2024 with a mix of uneasiness and hope. So what's next for the Toronto real estate market? Well, demand won't have any significant downward moves. At the end of the day, Toronto's a major city that many people want to live in, and with the record immigration numbers set to continue into 2025, I don't see demand slowing significantly. Reduced interest rates are on the horizon, but the question is the timing of when. Most sellers will probably wait until the official announcement of a rate cut and then list, but that also just leads to a sudden increase in supply. If the level of demand isn't there for the level of supply, then sellers won't get the prices they're hoping for, and buyers will find some good deals. If demand comes in strong through the spring with lower rates, then we can see a stronger market than we had in 2023. I believe 2024 will be a much more balanced year as the market returns to its seasonality, and we'll see movement and action throughout the spring into June, and then a slowdown from there until winter as per usual. Sellers want to get onto the market before everyone else, but not too early that they become stale. Buyers will want to purchase at a good rate, but before prices jump from increased demand due to lower rates. Many first-time buyers are also wondering if prices have more room to drop, as a future rate cut will still leave some just priced out of their market. Prices do have more room to fall, be it very slightly, but going off previous trends, once January passes, prices begin to climb even without interest rate changes. So I don't see much of a decrease in prices for 2024 unless it comes in late fall, early winter. What are your predictions for 2024? Will what's on the horizon affect your real estate plans for 2024? Do you see the pre-construction market continuing to suffer and more developers struggle throughout the year? Let me know in the comments down below. While the future is never certain, understanding these predictions can help us navigate the ever-evolving landscape of Toronto's real estate market. Here's a quick recap in case you've forgotten our 2023 year-end review of the Toronto real estate market. The year began with a rebound in prices and transactions. Interest rates then rose and more listings hit the market, resulting in a slower market. The condo market saw a large increase in supply, but only an 8% decrease in price. The detached freehold home supply went up only 9%, but prices dropped 20% from their highs. The rental market remains relatively strong, but may slow slightly through 2024. The overall resale market seems to be returning to its seasonal and cyclical nature. The pre-construction market seems to be in some hot water, and 2024 may be a good year to clean up the industry from lower quality developers. The price per square foot of a pre-construction condo will be something to follow throughout the year, as it has dropped for the first time since the financial crisis. Share your thoughts down below. I hope you found this video helpful and were able to learn something about the past year in the Toronto real estate market. My contact info is below. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. The Toronto real estate market is always evolving, and I'll always keep you updated on this channel. Thanks for watching.